Daily B60, just getting started. Hey, this is Brian from Wright732.com and fitin.com, PHITIN.com. So something that everyone deals with. It comes down to motivation, it comes down to closing a sale, it comes down to opening a business, creating a new habit. It doesn't matter what it is. It's getting started on the process. So bridging the gap from apprehension to action is the main issue here. So as a salesperson, you've got to get somebody from being a potential customer to creating a customer. As a fitness and martial arts business owner, it's getting from someone from looking in from the outside, getting them in, and then getting them acting, which then turns them into the customer. So the main thing, again, it's bridging the gap between inaction and action. It's getting them started. A lot of people worry about the starting point, when the thing is the starting point doesn't really matter. Starting is what matters, because the end is more important than the beginning, because we all start in a place that we're not as good as where we could be. So you have to have that goal in mind of where you want to go, and then you have to get over the apprehensions and the fears and the excuses and all the things that are stopping you from getting going. And you've got to take into account a lot of the issues here, the things that we don't directly address a lot of times but are there, and some of the main reasons why we don't get started. One of the big ones, which is, it sounds crazy, but it makes a lot of sense when you really analyze it, is that forget about the failure side of it. I'll go to that. But the change aspect. So if you go and you do something, it's going to create change, which means you're going to have to operate differently. And different is scary to so many people. You may not like where you are, but where you are is what you know. What you know is a lot easier to deal with. It's the thing you have the most experience with. So getting outside of what you know, even if it's going to be better for you, it brings apprehension, because you're afraid of change. We're human beings. It's just kind of what happens. And then the failure side of it, if you get involved in something, if you start, there's a chance you may not finish. There's a chance you may fail. And the fear of failure is greater than the excitement of potential success for a lot of us. So the main thing is addressing the mentality that is stopping people from starting, which is stopping us from starting. You may not be happy where you are, but you may be happy getting 10 hours of sleep. You may not like where you are, but you like the food you eat. You may not like where you are, but you like doing what you do with your time. Instead of going to the gym, you like the other distractive things you're doing. You may like a lot of things, but you don't like the results they're getting for you. So you've got to connect the two in a way that's going to create the energy and the motivation to get you started. Started is the key. It's getting into the room and then starting to do the work. Because once you get going on the work, the momentum takes over, and then you start to see the possibilities, and then life starts to actually happen. But it's amazing how we can be stuck in the mud and just go nowhere because of the comfort of normal, the comfort of what we know. Again, even if we don't like it, we will tend to stay where we don't like to be because it's what we know. You've got to get out of that. You have to get inspired. You have to start really embracing the idea of better, not necessarily more as acquiring, but better than what we have right now. Evolving our understanding of what we can be and the ability to achieve the things that we want. So the starting place has to be eliminated as a level of importance. One of the main issues I get into with training is I get a lot of people that they don't want to start training until they train. And I'm like, I don't understand. So you're going to go and get in shape before you get in shape. So what's the problem here? If you got started getting in shape, you should be in shape and we wouldn't have this issue. It's because you've been trying to do it alone. It's because you've been trying to do it with your own stuff that it's not working. So you're going to fail at your pre-training, which is going to stop you from actually getting into the real training. So it's kind of like, why don't you just jump into the real training and start dealing with that and then move forward? instead of giving yourself all these qualifications before you start. And that just is not a physical training thing. That can be switching jobs. That can be, relationships. That can be so many things. We have a lot of things where we create this checklist. Well, I'm not going to do this until I do A, B, and C. Well, why don't you forget the checklist and just jump into it and get going? Because when you get going, that's when the good things happen. The checklist is the excuses and the fears and all that stuff where you're just delaying the inevitable. So you have to stop delaying the inevitable and just go in. Look at it as like going into the ocean or going into a pool. It's an analogy that kind of works. When you try and get into cold water slowly, it just sucks and it takes forever and it's miserable and there's a really good chance you're not going to finish. You're going to get out. You get up to like halfway up your thigh and just say, screw this, it's too cold, I'm not doing it. But then if you just jump in, your body regulates really fast and then you're fine and then you enjoy the water. Same kind of thing with this life concept, people. You've got to jump in. Just completely immerse yourself into the thing you want to do. And then your body will adjust, your brain will adjust, your spirit will adjust, and then you pivot and you adjust and you mold and you move and you get things going. Sitting and waiting and watching and being the observer is not getting you anywhere. You can watch all the videos you want, but if you don't turn them off at the end and then go and do what you just listened to, it's going nowhere. So I know how many people watch this. It doesn't matter how many. It could be 3 of you or it could be 1,000 of you. I know that only 1 or 2 people, no matter how many views we get in a given day, are actually going to go and do something. You're going to think about doing something, the majority of you, but actually getting up and doing something is part of the minority. So what you need to do is get over the fears, the apprehensions, and ignore all the reasons why you don't want to get started. Focus on the end result, and then you just have to get involved. So again, create the goal that you want to achieve, and then just get going on it. All right? That's the deal. Get started. Stop waiting. Stop watching.